If your feet feel cold at night, even with socks on, your body might be sending a quiet warning. For millions of people over 50, cold feet aren't just an inconvenience. They're a sign that something deeper may be off. Something about the way your blood flows, the way your body rests, the way your nervous system speaks through sensation. Imagine lying in bed, layers of blankets pulled up, yet your toes feel like smooth stones left in the cold. That chill doesn't just stay in your feet. It creeps into your sleep, into your thoughts, into your peace. But what if the solution wasn't another blanket or another pill? What if it started with something ancient, something gentle, something you already have in your home? Old doctors once turned to castor oil and salt, not as folklore, but as quiet medicine. They knew that warmth could be coaxed back into the body, not forced. And the secret wasn't in doing more, but in doing it right. Applying this simple blend to one overlooked part of the body, the place where circulation begins and ends. Tonight, before you reach for a sleeping aid, ask yourself this. Have you ever tried a remedy that worked better than pills? Leave a heart in the comments if you have. I read every one. But what happens when you combine an ancient oil with something as simple as salt? That's where the magic begins. Cold feet at night could mean your blood is slowing down too early in the day. Robert was 66 and used to wear thick wool socks even in the middle of summer. Not because he liked them, but because his feet felt like ice bricks by sunset. He thought it was just aging. But when his daughter noticed the purple tinge on his toes, she got worried. Instead of more medications, an old family friend, once a nurse, suggested something simple. Every night before bed, Robert rubbed a mix of warm castor oil and sea salt into the soles of his feet. He didn't expect much, but by the second night, something surprising happened. His feet were warm before he even pulled the blankets over them, and for the first time in years, he slept 5 straight hours without waking up. It wasn't a miracle, it was flow. Castor oil stimulates the lymphatic channels beneath the skin, gently encouraging the movement of stagnant fluids. Sea salt, rich in minerals, acts like a conductor, retaining warmth and enhancing the absorption of the oil. Together, they send a signal to the nerves in the feet, telling the body it's safe to let go and safe to rest. You can imagine the soles of your feet as tiny road maps. Over time, those roads get clogged and the signals slow down. But with just 2 minutes of gentle rubbing, warmth returns like the streetlights flickering back on after a long blackout. You can even picture the tiniest vessels lighting up again, soft red lines traveling outward to each toe, bringing life and calm. Try this before bed tonight. Just 2 minutes of gentle rubbing can tell you more than a lab test. But if you think warm feet are impressive, wait until you hear what happened to Maria's knees in just 3 days. When your knees feel stiff in the morning, your body may be screaming for better lymph flow. Maria was 61 when her knees started locking up before she even got out of bed. Some mornings, she'd sit at the edge of the mattress, counting to 10 before she dared to stand. Her doctor gave her muscle relaxants, but they barely took the edge off. What she feared most wasn't the pain. It was the feeling that her independence was slowly being taken away. It's not just the pain, she said. It's what it makes you afraid of. You start avoiding stairs, then long walks, then even standing too long to cook. Then she remembered something her grandmother used to do. A warm cloth, a little oil, a pinch of salt. Maria warmed a teaspoon of castor oil, added crushed sea salt, and began massaging it gently around her knees and down toward her ankles, just 5 minutes each night. No pressure, just presence. On the third morning, she stood up without bracing herself against the nightstand. Her joints didn't creak. Her body didn't protest. Something had shifted. Something had softened. Castor oil has a natural ability to open up the lymphatic vessels, helping clear out trapped fluid and reduce inflammation. The salt, with its mineral charge, pulls out retained water from swollen tissue. Together, they create space. Space for movement. Space for ease. When flow returns, so does confidence. Picture her knees red and tight. Then the oil goes in, the salt draws the pressure out, and a soft light begins to spread across her joints, like sunrise hitting fog. That warmth you feel? It's not just in your skin. It's in your belief that movement is still possible. Even if nothing else worked, this one step might be worth your next 3 nights. But the most surprising benefit wasn't in the joints. It was in the mirror. That itchy patch around your ankle? It might not be dry skin. It might be trapped heat. Linda was 58 when she first noticed a rough red spot on the inside of her left ankle. At first, she blamed her socks, then the detergent, then the weather. But no matter what she changed, the itching didn't stop. In fact, it got worse in the evenings, especially when she sat still. She tried lotion after lotion, medicated creams, even a hydrocortisone prescription. Nothing worked. And slowly, without realizing it, she stopped wearing sandals, even around family. I didn't want to wear sandals anymore, she said. I felt embarrassed, even around family. That's when a friend, trained in traditional Eastern medicine, suggested something unexpected. Don't treat it like a rash, she said. Treat it like stuck energy, heat that can't escape. So Linda warmed a spoonful of castor oil, mixed in a small pinch of finely ground sea salt, and gently pressed the blend around the edge of her ankle bone. It felt warm at first, then cool, then calm. By the second night, the itching was almost gone. By the fourth, the redness had faded and the skin felt smooth again. In ancient theory, the ankle is more than a joint. It's a valve, a place where heat and toxins try to exit. When that valve is blocked, the pressure pushes upward and outward, inflaming the skin. Castor oil pulls from deep within. Salt draws from the surface. Together, they create an escape route for what doesn't belong. You can picture it, angry red skin, the oil gliding in, the salt settling. And slowly, a soft green-blue glow spreads, like evening light on calm water. If lotion never worked, maybe it's time to try something from your kitchen instead. But this wasn't just about skin. The real surprise came when Robert started sleeping through the night. If you keep waking up at 2:30 a.m., it might not be your bladder. It might be blocked flow. Robert was 69, and for 6 years, he hadn't slept more than 3 hours in a row. Some nights he would fall asleep just fine, but always, he'd wake up at the same time. 2:30 on the dot, no dream, no noise, just awake. He tried melatonin, herbal teas, breathing apps, even a mild sedative. They helped for a night or two. But the cycle always came back. His mind stayed busy. His body refused to stay still. Then a friend suggested something different, something quiet. Just try this for 2 nights, she said. Before bed, Robert warmed a bit of castor oil, added a pinch of fine sea salt, then slowly massaged it into the soles of his feet. Not rushed, not scrubbed, just gently pressed in like setting a message. Then, with what was left on his hands, he placed his palms along the lower part of his spine and let the warmth settle in like an evening prayer. That first night, he woke up once but drifted back without struggle. The second night, he opened his eyes to sunlight. I thought I overslept, he said, but it was the first time I slept like that in years. Here's what may have happened. The soles of the feet are packed with nerve endings, many linked to the body's fight or flight system. Castor oil soothes those nerves. Salt seals in the warmth. And when applied to the base of the spine, just above the hips, it helps the whole system exhale. The breath deepens, the heart rate slows, and sleep finally arrives. Picture it. A camera glides from the feet up the spine to a still, quiet brain. Sleep isn't forced, it's invited. Try this for 2 nights, just to see what happens. And what if I told you this same remedy once saved a soldier's leg in the field? In the Korean War, a field doctor ran out of antibiotics, but he still had castor oil and salt. His name was Dr. William Hearn. He was 72 when he told this story, his voice steady but soft, like he could still smell the dust in the tent. The patient was a young soldier, barely 20, whose foot had started to swell and turn dark after a long march through wet terrain. The medics feared the worst. Early signs of tissue death, the kind that creeps quietly. Amputation seemed likely, but Dr. Hearn had seen this before. In jungle camps, mountain stations, places far from sterile rooms and modern tools. He warmed castor oil over a small flame, mixed it with crushed Himalayan salt, and wrapped the foot in layers of cotton soaked in the blend. No rubbing, no scrubbing, just pressure, just warmth. Every 6 hours, they changed the dressing. They watched and waited. By the end of the first day, the swelling had stopped growing. By the second, the skin color began to shift. By the third, the heat and hardness had softened. The boy kept his foot. It wasn't just about saving a foot, Dr. Hearn said. It was about giving a man his walk back. He believed castor oil wasn't just an oil, it was a message, a whisper to the tissue, stay alive. And the salt, that was the amplifier, the one that carried the signal deeper, where healing begins before we can see it. Picture it. A dim tent lit by lantern, a young man asleep, his foot bandaged, resting, an old hand smoothing warmth into skin, and slowly, along the edges of bruised tissue, the faintest glow of life pushing back against the gray. We think of healing as modern, but sometimes what's old stays because it works. If it helped in war, imagine what it can do in peace. But this remedy isn't just for pain or skin. It can even affect something most of us struggle with silently: hair loss. If your scalp feels cold to the touch, your hair might be starving for circulation. Eleanor was 63 when she began to notice more of her scalp in the mirror than she wanted to. The part in her hair seemed wider, the texture thinner. Showers became a reminder. Every time she brushed, the strands felt endless. Her doctor told her it was normal, part of aging, nothing could be done. But a close friend, someone who'd been through it, offered another idea. Each morning and again before bed, Eleanor warmed a teaspoon of castor oil, added a pinch of sea salt, and 2 drops of rosemary essential oil. She massaged it gently in circular motions at the crown of her head. Not aggressive, just rhythmic and slow. By the end of the first week, she didn't see a difference, but she felt it. Her scalp tingled after each session, like something had woken up. By the second week, she saw baby hairs coming in, soft, short, but there. She ran her fingers over them and felt warmth, a sign of life returning. Here's why this blend might help. Salt stimulates tiny capillaries beneath the skin, inviting fresh blood upward. Castor oil nourishes deep into the follicle, sealing in moisture and supporting the root. And rosemary, it increases nitric oxide, a natural compound that dilates blood vessels. That means more flow, more oxygen, more food for your follicles. Zoom in. A cold, pale scalp. Then warmth spreads. Light seeps around each root. And from below, the soft push of a new hair, rising like a green sprout breaking through soil. Eleanor said, "I didn't expect a miracle. I just wanted to stop hiding my part with a hat. Try this gentle blend for 7 days. What you feel might surprise you more than what you see. And if blood flow can reach your scalp, imagine what happens when it reaches your brain." Brain fog after 60 may not start in your head. It might start in your feet. Mr. Cheney was 72 when he started losing his words, simple ones. He'd walk into a room and forget why. Set his glasses down, then spend 10 minutes retracing steps. He repeated stories, misplaced his car keys. He laughed it off at first. Age, right? But deep down it scared him. He didn't want more pills. What he wanted was clarity. So he tried something small. Every morning, just after waking, he warmed a bit of castor oil, added a pinch of sea salt, rubbed it gently into the soles of his feet. Then with clean hands, he massaged the base of his neck just below the skull where the spine meets the brainstem. No pressure, just breath, just presence. By the third day, he noticed he was finishing his morning crossword. By the fifth, he caught himself thinking through full sentences without stopping. The fog lifted, he said, like I could think in full sentences again. Here's why it may have worked. The soles of the feet are dense with nerve endings, many of which connect to the spinal column and beyond. Stimulating them sends signals up the body's core axis, like flicking on a switch at the bottom of the house. Meanwhile, rubbing the base of the skull supports blood flow through the carotid arteries. When both work together, it's like clearing static from a radio signal. Picture Mr. Cheney with a book in his lap reading again. The light flows from his feet, up his spine, and blooms in the brain like sunrise through mist. Your brain needs flow, not just facts. And sometimes healing starts from the ground up. But the most surprising discovery of all came from a tiny spot almost no one touches. There's a hidden switch between your toes, and old doctors knew exactly how to use it. Nearly no one thinks about the space between the big toe and the second toe. It's just a crease, a shadow. But in traditional medicine, that narrow strip of skin holds something powerful. It's known as a reflex point for peripheral circulation, where flow either begins or gets stuck. A Japanese study found that gently massaging this point with warm castor oil and sea salt for just 2 minutes a night improved blood flow to the extremities by nearly 20%. Tom, 65, used to wake up with cold fingers and numb toes, even in warm weather. His wife would hold his hands in the morning and say, "You're freezing." He tried socks, heated slippers, even electric blankets. Nothing worked. Then he added one simple step. Every night, just before sleep, he dipped a finger into warm castor oil, mixed with crushed salt, and pressed gently into the space between his big toe and second toe. Just slow circles, just breath. After 4 days, he woke up and his fingertips were pink. It was like flipping a tiny switch, he said. My whole body felt reconnected. Why would that work? That spot links to capillaries and lymphatic points that help control microcirculation. When you touch it gently, you're telling your vessels to open. Think of it like tapping the base of a fountain before the water rises. Picture it. The toes soften, oil glides between them, salt melts into the skin, and a golden warmth pulses outward, spreading across the foot, into the ankle, rising gently through the calves like sunlight moving up a curtain. This one spot might be the most overlooked key to full body healing. So let's bring it all together with a simple plan you can start tonight. You don't need another pill. You need to feel in control again. Because maybe, just maybe, it's not about finding something new. It's about remembering something old. A dark bottle in a drawer, a pinch of salt from your kitchen, a few minutes of quiet before bed, that's all it takes. This isn't about magic. It's not about curing every problem. It's about noticing the small changes, like the warmth spreading in your feet after a long day, the way your shoulders drop just a little easier, the stillness in your mind when you close your eyes, the soft, steady rhythm of sleep, or the way your scalp tingles just for a moment, like something waking up. You see, healing doesn't always roar in. Sometimes it arrives like a whisper, and you only notice it when you stop long enough to feel. This is your body we're talking about. Your experience, your breath, your circulation, your rest. And that means you're the one in charge, not some chart, not a prescription bottle, you. So tonight, don't change your whole routine. Don't overthink it. Just choose one spot, your ankle, your foot, your scalp, wherever feels right. Rub gently with a bit of oil and salt. Breathe slow. Let it sink in. Then rest. Trust your body to respond in its own time. Trust that even if the change is small, it's still a step forward. And then wait 3 days, because something will shift. Maybe it's sleep. Maybe it's clarity. Maybe it's warmth. But something small will come back to you. It always does when you create space for it. And when it does, come back here. Tell me what you noticed first. What changed? What surprised you? What gave you hope? Because this isn't about me telling you what works. It's about you feeling it for yourself. That's what makes it real. In the next video, I'll show you how 1 point just above your ankle can calm your heart rate in less than 90 seconds. And it's easier than you think. But for now, just start. I'm not a doctor, but I believe healing begins with awareness. And sometimes just a little oil and salt.